Carmela, how are you doing today?
I'm great, thanks. I'm excited to be here at Punk Globe, and hi to all you Punk Globe people. Well, does that mean that I passed the audition? Um, I would say yes. I guess if I'm the new bassist for the White Trash Debutants, then I'm very happy for that. It's a good question. I started off playing guitar and when I was, a teenager, and really sort of wanted to, rock. I was playing classical guitar. So I switched over to electric guitar and it just wasn't really clicking for me. And then I saw a picture of Tina Weymouth and I was like, hey, she's playing bass, and maybe if I play bass, I'll be like her. And I got a bass and it really clicked. It just fit. It was the right instrument for me. Sometimes it takes a little time, I think, to find the right instrument. I was pretty lucky that I hit it on the second one. But there was obviously other after that people who were really inspiring. I would say, Frank from the Descendants was a big influence, and then Stephen McDonald for Red Cross, because we were the same age, and he started playing really, really young. So, it's kind of one of those things that's like, if these guys can do it, then maybe I can. I got a phone call from Polly Gray, who's a guitar player, and he said that he was with Eric, the drummer, and they wanted to do some shows. They hadn't played in a while, and they wanted to play a couple of gigs. And basically, Polly said, you have not played in the White Trash Debutantes yet, and that is a requirement for any San Francisco musician. So basically forced me into doing it. No, he asked me to play, and I was really excited to play with him in the band because I never had. So it is a rite of passage, I think, to play in the White Trash Debutantes for any San Francisco musician. The first bass I bought after, the Tina Weymouth earth shifting experience was Fender Music Master. It's a 3/4 size bass, and I saw an ad. Again, this is kind of back in time in San Francisco. There was I can't remember what it was called, the Recycler or something like that, where you could list something for sale. And so I saw this bass for sale, and it was in my price range, which was, kind of not much. It was pretty cheap. And I went over with the guy, my boyfriend at the time, who also played guitar, and the guy who was selling it was this Chinese Rastafarian guy. he played reggae, and he was very sweet and very excited. And so I bought the bass from him, and I think he was a little bummed when I told him I wanted to play punk rock, because I think he was hoping that I was going to say reggae when he asked me what type of music I was playing. But that was the first bass that I started playing on, and like I said, it was a 3/4, so it was good. It was a good because it was a little bit smaller, so it was good to kind of start out with. And then eventually, over time, my friend Eric was like, "You have to get like a full scale bass," and he helped hook me up with my first full scale Fender Precision. Yeah. Well, Short Dogs was the second band I was in. My first band was called The Reign of Lee Kwan. I think I was 18 years old when I started playing in that. And shortly after I started playing in that band, I met Tom, who is the other main force behind the origins of Short Dogs. And he's a very talented songwriter. And he came to see me play in Lorena Lee Kwan. And like right after I got off stage, he's like, "You need to be in my band." And I'm like, "You don't have a band." But eventually I told him we have to start a band together. I don't know. It was I think just destiny, or of fate that we did that, but that was the origin of it. Was me kind of just him telling me that I shouldn't be in a band with him, and then a little while later me saying, yeah, we have to do this. Oh my God, I have to do some serious math for that. Tom was 18 and I was 19 when we met. So I want to say more than 30 years ago. That's we met. We were both bike messengers, and we saw each other, riding around San Francisco. Um, I would see him on his bicycle, and he'd see me. And at the time, I had a bicycle that what I painted it black on one side and blue on the other. So he said for the longest time, like he thought there was these two girls that looked really similar. Um, because he'd see me riding in one direction and the bike would be blue, and then come back the other way and the bike would be black. And then he said he finally figured it out, so that I was the same person. So I think that caught his eye. He was obviously really handsome, so that's what caught my eye initially. And then we started working with the same company, and that's where I first talked to him. Um, and it was just kind of funny. Like the first day, I think that we were working together. I went up to him at the end of the day and was like, "Yeah, so we're gonna go have a milkshake, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, we are." And so that's kind of started off the friendship. Yeah, so Tom and I hadn't really played together. He was off doing his writing, and he's written a number of books of crime fiction. That was, I think, a really uh, interesting kind of avenue for his creativity for a while. But he was like 5 or 6 books in, and he called me up and he was like, "Hey, do you want to get together and just play some music?" And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're kind of missing it. He wanted to play guitar and he wanted to kind of learn, a little bit more about playing guitar." And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So we started getting together. And just playing a little bit. And then we called Greg, or Greg was the other guitar player in the band, and he was still local at that time. And we asked him if he wanted to come out, and he did. And so then we started all the three of us hanging out. And then Greg said we should all write. We should each write a song. We should all write. And I was like, oh, and I didn't really write that much. I didn't write songs per se in that band. The two of them were like the principal songwriters, but it was really fun. So we started working together, the three of us, and just writing new music. And then Greg had to go to South Carolina to take care of his mom. So Tom and I were continuing on. And then Tom was like, "Yeah, I guess we should, maybe we should get a drummer and see how that goes." And I was like, "Okay." And so we asked our friend Chewy. Um, and so we were playing, we're playing these songs, these new songs, these old songs, and we're having fun. And that's when I was like, "We should play a show, you guys." And Tom was like, "Oh, really? Oh, I don't know. What do you think?" And I said, "Yeah." And then I was actually, um, it's kind of getting to be a longer story than maybe originally intended, but I was getting my hair done and it just popped in my head. I was like, we should play a show with the Jackson Saints. They were a band that we used to play with a lot, kind of back in the day. And it was awesome because I messaged Janice, she's the bass player for Jackson Saints, and I just said, "Hey, do you guys want to play a show? Does Jackson Saints want to do a show with Shark Dogs Grow?" And she wrote back immediately, "Yes." And then she said, "Check with Kevin. He was a guitar player." So I messaged Kevin, said, "Do you guys want to play a show?" And immediately got the text back, "Yes." And then I messaged the other guitar player, and everybody was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it." So then I just called the Kilowatt and said, "Hey, we want to do the show." And they're like, "Great." And so it was like really fast and fun when we made the decision to do it. And it was a great show. We had a great time. Great reunion of everybody. Funny, the bicycle thing, since we were all bike messengers. I don't know how many of us have been on bikes recently, but it's funny how when you've played songs so many times, they are in there, you know, they're in your muscle memory. And sometimes it takes a few, you know, tries to kind of remember like how you did it. And then as soon as you remember like the fingering, it's like boom. So I would say, yeah. I mean, we obviously had new material, so that was a little different. We did have to, unfortunately, our beloved drummer George passed away. So we did have to work with Chewy to give him a chance to learn the songs, you know, so for, and we actually reworked some of the older material, which I thought was kind of fun because, you know, the name Short Dogs Grow originally, and I mean, we were kids when Tom came up with that name, but he wanted to include the grow in there because he said that will give us the freedom to grow, you know, so we don't have to be the same, right? And we weren't thinking about being, you know, these old folks, you know, million years later playing, but the sentiment of that, I think, carried on. And so we did rework some of the songs. Like he said that, you know, he was interested in maybe doing some soloing where we hadn't done that before. And so that was really fun. Actually, that made it much more interesting than just getting together and just like learning or rehashing, you know, relearning old songs. We really were reworking them and kind of reinterpreting some of it. So it's interesting for us. I don't know if the, you know, the fans or the crowds, you know, how they liked it or even noticed, but so I would say it was a bit like riding a bicycle with a flat tire and maybe needing a little bit of air in the tire before we were able to really compete. I kind of Ginger had we talked about that, and I was like, oh my god, I have a copy of that article. So for those who don't know who Herb Caen was, he was a columnist for the San Francisco Chronicle, and he is or was, he's passed away now, but he was a bit of a legend. He wrote this column that everyone read. I mean, just everybody in San Francisco. The motto was coffee and cane, right? You got up, you got your coffee, and you read Herb Caen's column every day. And he talked about all the stuff that was going on in San Francisco. And he had his, you know, he had his fingers in everything. He had informers everywhere. And so Ginger had asked us to play, I think it was her birthday party, and it was at a club called the Stone. And it was interesting for us because the Stone was at the time more of a metal club, like Metallica played there. I mean, before they were Metallica, you know, I mean, all the metal bands are played their Death Angel and stuff. And so we were like, oh, cool, because we had never had a chance to play at the Stone. And the Rhythm Pigs played as well. She asked them, and then I can't remember if it was Faith No More. It was there. I think there was another band. So anyway, we were all playing at the show, and of course, it was Party for Ginger, so she was there, and so she noticed some famous people, you know, um, that we probably didn't. And she told Herb, I think she, you know, and Herb were friends, and so she would tell him all of the stuff that she was doing. And so he mentioned in his column that Ginger had told him that she had seen John Philip Law, who was an actor, um, slam dancing, I think, during our set at the Stone. And so he printed that in there. And so it was fun that he mentioned, you know, Ginger and us and the Rhythm Pigs. He got our names all wrong, not Ginger's, but us and the Rhythm Pigs. I think he called us Small Dogs Grow or something like that. But it was exciting because everyone read Herb Caen. And the next day, my sister called me and she's like, oh my God, your band is in Herb Caen. And I was like, ah, I'm famous. So that was pretty exciting. I, you know, I think so. I mean, we would like to. We were thinking about doing some recording. Greg is still in South Carolina, so it really, you know, we're not sure, you know, when he'll be able to come back. Um, if and when he does come back, we'd love to do a show with Greg because we love him so much. But I'm thinking, you know, maybe we'll do a show next year. I would really like to do a birthday party and have Short Dogs Grow play at my birthday party. I don't know if I can afford them. We'll see how much money they want, but yeah, maybe I can get them to play my birthday party. Yeah, Well, White Trash Debutantes, apparently I'm the new bassist for them, so that's pretty exciting. And hopefully we'll do a show again. I would love to go down and play in LA with White Trash. That would be super fun. I'm also in a band called Class of 77. We are kind of a tribute to the year 77, and we play songs from that era, you know, the classic kind of punk bands. And we also have some original music too. It's kind of influenced by that that we've been working on. So that's been a lot of fun. And that's with Polly and Chelsea, who are also in White Trash, and then Ian Larkin is our drummer. Amazing. And then I've also been I put together this, it's another kind of tribute. It's called San Francisco 2.0. I put together musicians, San Francisco musicians, and we play some of the old San Francisco band songs. So San Francisco had a great, has had a great musical history in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. That, you know, a lot of these bands put out records and stuff, but, you know, weren't like super huge. But to us, you know, very loved. And we've lost some of the players, so it's a bit of a tribute to some of the San Francisco musicians who we've lost recently, like Gary Floyd from Sister Double Happiness, Joe Sloan from Spot 1019, Chuck from Faith No More. Doing some of Buck Naked we're going to do on their next our next gig. And so it's a tribute to, you know, really to San Francisco music scene of bands, great bands that, man, we need to, you know, we need to play their music. We need to keep them, you know, and remember them. So that's San Francisco 2.0. I've got that set up for January, working on the lineup for that. And we always have, you know, we'll have some special guests and stuff. So so those are the kind of the 3, 4, I guess, things that are working on right now. And then potentially we'll be doing something in January, and maybe another new original band. So stay tuned for that one. Probably the easiest is website. The Short Dogs Grow website's probably an easy way to get a hold of me. So that's www.shortdogsgrow.com. That has my email address there. Also for Class of 77, the website for that is www.classof77sf.com. So class of 77, right? SF is in San Francisco.com, and you can get a hold of me or anyone in 77 through that. That's probably the easiest way.
Hmm.
3. Wow, that is challenging. But I think if on my tombstone, I think I would like it to say my name and then just kick-ass bassist. How about that? That's 3 words. Gosh, final words, that makes it sound like so final. Yeah, I hope to see everybody. You know, it's been, we all got through a pretty rough time with COVID, and it's you know, we've had some traumatic times here in the last couple of weeks since in the United States. So we need to, I think, really go out and support the arts and music. It's our way of expressing ourselves. It's our way of being, you know, kind of rebelling about what's going on right now. So I just want to encourage everybody. You know, it's kind of it's a tough and scary time. Now's the time really for us to go out and play music and write songs and make art. Don't let anyone put us down or stop us, because this is the time, right? I mean, it's like what Henry Rollins said. You know, Joe Strummer said, "This is, you know, we've been trained for. This is punk rock time," and it is true. I mean, this is we have to do art and not let anyone tell us what to do.
This is the Silver Fox for Punk Club Magazine, interviewing the inimitable Carmela Thompson. Thank you so much.
Thank you.